Hello again. I've remarked before that whenever one tries to investigate the idea of inherent differences in intelligence between different ethnic groups or races, only the same half dozen names always crop up. The same names every time. Richard Lynn, J. Philip Rushton, Arthur Jensen, and so on. It is upon the work of this very small group that most claims about the matter rest. Even when a popular book on the subject is published such as Charles Murray's The Bell Curve, look through the references there, and these same few folk are prominent. Charles Murray's Bell Curve was, of course, heavily criticised for drawing upon sources which appeared in Mankind Quarterly, viewed by some as being a racist publication. Not only did Murray's book quote Richard Lynn, it also contained information gleaned from the research of J. Philip Rushton. Almost all research quoted on this topic seems invariably to have appeared in Mankind Quarterly, a journal for many years edited by Richard Lynn and more recently by Ed Dutton, another of those names which always crop up in this field. One does not see properly controlled big pieces of research by respected institutions, which might prove strong evidence one way or the other about this. There's a very good reason for this, and it relates to a terrible scientific scandal which exploded half a century ago. The only really reliable way of distinguishing the amount of intelligence inherited by humans, as opposed to that produced by the environment in which a child grows up, is by examining the life outcomes of identical twins. Because they are genetically identical, being produced from a single fertilized egg, then identical twins inevitably inherit precisely the same amount of intelligence. If we could only find pairs of identical twins who were separated at birth and raised in different environments, then we would be able to see how much their intelligence varied, if at all. If we found that their intelligence didn't vary much, even if they've been separated at birth and raised in different conditions, this would suggest that most of our intelligence is inherited, and then that would have implications if we were to find, say, that black people generally had a lower IQ than white people. It would suggest that it's nothing to do with schools or home background, but is an inherent thing. It would allow us to think about how much of the average person's intelligence is inherited. Unfortunately, research involving twins is very rarely done now, for reasons which I explain in an article published on my Substack account. I give a link to this in the description to this video, and I rather think that viewers will find it interesting. It's free to read.